Hi, this is your Houston chiropractor, Dr. Gregory Johnson. I'm coming to you today and going to show you how we do chiropractic adjustments, pure and simple. But the very first thing that we do is we have to evaluate the patient's posture and biomechanics while they're standing in gravity. Very important, and this is how we do that. First thing we do is we make sure we have the patient stand in their normal, comfortable stance. Then I ask the patient to close their eyes. And I want to make sure when we do this that I have my hands out here, because some patients actually lose their balance when we do this. So we don't want that to happen. So we have that here. The next thing I want to do is, can you go ahead and push your head all the way down, flex it forward. That pulls right through here. You can tell the muscles are tightening up when she does that. And if you also notice, it went down and to the side. So now go backwards, please. Eyes closed still. You want to have the eyes remain closed at all times. Now back to neutral. Now, you're going to ask the patient to take a deep breath in. Let it all the way out. And you still want to be kind of holding on here and watching. Now, because she gets adjusted pretty regularly, she's doing pretty good. But we're looking at things on a three-dimensional axis. The x-axis goes across like this. The y-axis straight down through like a plumb line, and the z-axis straight through the middle like this. So we have the x, y, and z axes that we're going to be evaluating today. Very first thing that we see here is that she has a high left shoulder, and that's because her head is translated on the x-axis to the right. We call that a negative SX cervical in BioPhysics terminology. Now, because she is a side sleeper, you can also see that this hand is behind this one. So her shoulders are rotated, and we also see just a little bit of unevenness about her ears. But that's not too bad. Now, when we look at the pelvis here, we can see that the pelvis has shifted to the right also on the x-axis. So that means she has a curvature or a scoliosis in her spine. Not really bad, but she does have one. So we're going to be dealing with that in there too. Now, from the side view, let's go ahead and come around to the side. Now, from the side posture, you want to make sure that the patient's ear is over their shoulders and the shoulders are square. And again, you can see that rotation now a little bit better in the shoulders. But you see how her head's forward in her posture because she sleeps a little bit too much on a pillow, so her head's forward. Now, that is called forward head posture. What's gravity doing? Pulling us down towards the earth all the time. So that's going to cause an abnormal weight-bearing compression stress on the spine. Increases the workload of the muscles from the skull all the way down to the lumbar spine 3 to 4-fold from normal. Now, looking at her from the side view, you can see that her head's forward, but she does have a little bit of a forward curve because she's been getting chiropractic care for quite some time now. Now, we should see a nice smooth backward curve here and a little forward curve in the lumbar spine, and then again backwards down in the pelvis. When she's standing this way, in this position, now her knees are locked because her pelvis is misaligned too. But you can see the rotation that I was talking about earlier in this view as well. So how we're going to deal with this on the adjustment side of things is we're going to, first of all, decompress her on the y-axis. So if you'll come over here and lay down on the table, she can open her eyes now. I'm going to make sure she doesn't fall over. Haven't lost a patient on the floor yet. I don't want to start with her. Okay, let's scoot up just a little bit. Now you can see that there are some little holes in the table right here, and they're little metal holes. And I am going to raise the legs up, just like we talked about in the sleeping posture. If you sleep properly, your legs are going to be up where they're parallel with the floor. Same thing with this. We want to relax. There we go. Legs are parallel now with the floor. See, that changes the biomechanics down in her pelvis, and now she can just relax those arms right there. I'm going to be inserting 2 hard plastic cover pins directly on top of her pelvic bones. Very good. There we go. Now we're going to have her relax right there. what I'm going to do is I'm just going to overlay a spine right now to show you what this is looking like. This is what we're doing. We're actually pinning the iliac crest on both sides in so that we get a good firm contact there. And then I'm going to decompress her spine. I don't want to hit her in the head with this occiput, so we're going to go ahead and decompress her on the y-axis. What it will do is it will stretch that entire spine out, taking the compressive stresses off of the disc, off of the joints, and therefore the nerves coming out between them. So she's in the right position now. I'm going to take a normal bath towel, and I get it wet, and I put it right under the occiput, and then under the chin. Make sure they have their teeth closed, and don't bite their tongue, and just breathe normal. And then I'm going to catch her as soon as she's letting her air out or exhaling. Very quick, high velocity, low amplitude thrust. That takes care of the entire y-axis. You felt that all the way from your skull down to your pelvis, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Good. I can call her Hun because she's my wife and office manager. And she needed this adjustment today too. So, remember from our sleeping video, we talked about getting up properly from a lying down position. Same applies here. So we're going to have her go on her side, bring her legs around, and come up sideways and push herself up like that. Perfect. Now, we're going to come over to this table, which is a BioPhysics table. And I'm going to have her lie on her stomach with her face straight down in that piece of paper. Now I'm going to evaluate her entire spine from the bottom up. In this position, her leg is short by a little over 1/4 of an inch. Now, watch as I bring her legs up. See how it actually gets even. And then look at her pelvis raise and rock off the table. Right there. Now, that tightened up in her low back and pelvis. Her leg isn't anatomically shorter than her right leg. It's functionally shorter because her pelvis is misaligned right there. This is the sacroiliac joints. So what we're going to do, because I've seen her x-rays and know exactly what her biomechanics are, we're going to adjust the pelvis, which is made up of 3 pelvic bones, a left sacroiliac, a right sacroiliac, and then a middle triangular shaped bone called the sacrum. Most people call this their tailbone. And a lot of people call this their hip. It's really not your hip, it's your sacroiliac joint. So we're adjusting that 3-dimensionally. I'm adjusting now the x-axis and the z-axis, as well as some of the y. Now on this one specifically, I'm dropping straight down on the y-axis. And you notice the angle of my hand and arm changes as I move up her spine to accommodate her spinal configuration. Let's go ahead and scoot up in there for me a little bit. And now we're just going to do a little stretching here to loosen up her muscles and ligaments, get them ready for the adjustment. And when we do that, then we're going to come over here and we're just going to put some very nice, easy thrust into the spine, just loosening up the spine and adjusting it. Now when you do this, you're going to hear some nice cavitations or cracking noises, as a lot of people say, cracking the back in this area. Now this is very normal. It's called cavitation. It's a carbon dioxide gas that explodes in the joint space. That's not really your bones cracking. And we don't have any heads in our trophy wall, and we won't start with hers or yours. Now, she's got vertebra misaligned in her neck as well. So we're going to have her go ahead and turn around on her back now. And I'm going to be adjusting her now with a diversified move in her cervical spine because she's got several vertebrae in her neck that are misaligned. And she's just going to breathe normal for me. Perfect. Good. Same here. Excellent. She is lined up now from head to toe, literally. And now again, as we get the patient off the table, let's set up properly. And I'm going to adjust her shoulders next. This is very good adjustment, especially for people who are working on the computer all day long, doing administrative tasks. Okay. There. I'm sure you heard that one on the video even. Her shoulders were completely out of place. Excellent. Very good. Now I also adjust the elbows, the wrists, and the hands and fingers, because that old saying about the ankle bone connected to the knee bone connected to the hip bone works the same thing for the neck bones connected to the shoulder bone, the elbows, and the wrist. There it was. See, her wrist was out, her elbow was out, right there, wrist right there. And that's an old wives' tale about getting arthritis from cracking your knuckles. If you actually traumatize your knuckles, it does cause arthritis. However, when you just open the joint space up, you're going to hear that little popping noise. This completes our BioPhysics three-dimensional adjustment from your Houston chiropractor, Dr. Gregory Johnson. We'll see you next time.